post the Greenland Danish officials meeting with US officials, when President Trump said that he will work something out to acquire Greenland, he meant it. On January 17th, the US president announced a 10% tariff on all imports to the United States from Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the UK, the Netherlands, and Finland. He said the duties would take effect on February 1st and rise to 25% on June 1st, remaining in force until the US succeeds in purchasing Greenland. He also said he is levying sanctions targeting several European nations that oppose any American claim to Greenland.
We're going to put a 25% tariff, which is, by the way, about 7 times more than they would have to pay by raising their drug, like 7 times. This wasn't like a little bit more, 7 times more. And I may do that for Greenland too. I may put a tariff on countries if they don't go along with Greenland, because we need Greenland for national security. So I may do that.
Europe doesn't often speak in unison or move this quickly, but this was one of those rare moments when European leaders denounced Trump's decision of slapping tariffs on their countries. US NATO allies have pushed back against Trump's announcement of sanctions on countries that sent limited military forces to Greenland last week, as he continues to press his bid to take control of the Arctic territory. French President Emmanuel Macron, despite efforts to maintain a strong personal rapport with Trump, took the lead in pushing back and called the tariff threat unacceptable. No intimidation or threat will influence us, neither in Ukraine nor in Greenland, nor anywhere else in the world when we are confronted with such situations, he wrote on X. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer also weighed in, stating that imposing tariffs on allies for upholding NATO's shared security commitments is entirely wrong. EU Chief von der Leyen warned that US tariffs would damage transatlantic ties, insisting Europe remains united in defending Arctic security and sovereignty. Italian PM Giorgia Meloni, who had always maintained a positive relationship with US, has called Trump's threatened tariffs on European allies a mistake. She further clarified that contributions to Greenland's security are meant to protect the territory, not oppose the US.
I wanted to reach out and inform you that the current plan to implement an increase in trade tariffs against those nations that have voluntarily decided to contribute to Greenland's regional security, in my professional opinion, represents a strategic mistake. And I obviously do not agree with it at all. I do share the attention that the American presidency gives, as I have told you many times, to Greenland and more generally to the Arctic. It is a critically important and highly strategic geographical area where clearly any form of unwarranted and excessive external interference from actors who may harbor potentially hostile or adversarial intentions must be strictly avoided. But I firmly believe that in this specific sense, the genuine willingness of some European countries to send their troops and to participate in the establishment of a much more robust and comprehensive security framework should be interpreted not as an initiative directed against the interests of the United States, but rather as a necessary defensive measure aimed against other external actors. Clearly, it seems to me that there has been a problem of understanding and communication on this matter. As far as I'm concerned, I continue to insist on the role of NATO. NATO is the place where we need to try to organize together. We need tools of deterrence against interference that could be hostile in a territory that is clearly strategic. The fact that NATO has started to work on this is a good initiative. And for this very reason, because NATO has started doing this work, I believe it would be a mistake to impose new sanctions today. Instead, I think it is necessary to resume dialogue on this issue to avoid an escalation from this point of view, and that is what I am working on. I spoke with Donald Trump a few hours ago, to whom I expressed my views, and I also spoke with the Secretary General of NATO, who confirmed to me that NATO is beginning to work on this from this perspective. Clearly, over the course of the day, I will also be speaking with European leaders. A meeting has been called at the core level of the European Union for now, but I believe that at this stage it is very important to communicate with each other and that it is crucial to avoid an escalation, because we can work together to achieve a goal that is useful and necessary for everyone.
The Netherlands Foreign Minister David van Wiel called Trump's threatened tariffs over Greenland blackmail and said that they are unnecessary and harm NATO and Greenland. He further stressed Europe's Greenland mission aims to support defense, not trade negotiations.
This is not how allies treat each other, and in that sense I understand the use of the word blackmail. Yes, absolutely. We have until February 1st to really make our voices heard together, that we do not find this acceptable. We have also stated that as far as we are concerned, the territorial integrity and self-determination of Greenland and Denmark are not up for discussion. But we also believe that this use of trade tariffs is inappropriate and moreover unnecessary. So that will be our message.
So you're going to show your teeth?
Absolutely.
EU ambassadors will hold an emergency meeting in Brussels on January 18th following Trump's threat, which came after about a quarter of Nuuk's residents protested against a possible U.S. annexation of Greenland. On January 17th, thousands of Greenlanders took to the streets of Nuuk to protest Trump's interest in acquiring the Arctic island. Led by Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen, the protesters waved their national flag, held up protest signs, and chanted, "Greenland is not for sale," defending their right to self-governance against potential U.S. takeover.
It's important that we are together, and it's important for us that we have good cooperation. It is absolutely essential and fundamentally important for our entire team that we maintain a very high level of good cooperation. We believe that fostering a strong collaborative environment is the key to our collective success, and it remains a top priority for us to ensure that this spirit of working together effectively continues to grow and strengthen in every single project we undertake together.
Before U.S. massive blow to the NATO allies, Greenland and Denmark's foreign ministers sat down with U.S. and have a meeting over Trump's Greenland demand, but they couldn't reach a conclusion and had fundamental difference.
For us, ideas that would not respect territorial integrity of the Kingdom of Denmark and the right of self-determination of the Greenlandic people are, of course, totally unacceptable. And we therefore still have a fundamental disagreement, but we also agree to disagree. And therefore we will, however, continue to talk. We have decided to form a high-level working group to explore if we can find a common way forward. There's clearly a disagreement. We agree that it makes sense to try to sit down on a high level to explore whether there is possibilities to accommodate the concerns of the president, while we at the same time respect the red lines of the Kingdom of Denmark. So this is the work we will start. Whether that is doable, I don't know. I hope, and I would like to express that it could take, down the temperature. It is, of course, very emotional for all of us, and of course, particularly for people living up in Greenland. But also for people in Denmark.
I think it's very important to say it again, that how important it is from our side to strengthen our cooperation with the United States, but that doesn't mean that we want to be owned by the United States. We are allies. We are friends. We have been cooperated in many, many years. We have history together. So it's all our interest to find the right balances.
But instead of resolving the fundamental differences, the U.S. preferred to hit European allies with sanctions that could even worsen the situation in the Arctic, potentially benefiting Russia and China, whom Trump claims to be concerned about. We're not saying this. Kaja Kallas, the EU's foreign affairs chief, suggested it in a post on X. How European leaders finally respond to Trump's threats will be a development to look out for, but earlier in several occasions, Greenland PM made it very clear that the island won't be owned by US.
Now we are facing a geopolitical crisis, and if we have to choose between the USA and Denmark here and now, we choose Denmark. We choose NATO. We choose the Kingdom of Denmark. We choose the EU. But one thing everyone must understand. Greenland will not be owned by the USA. Greenland will not be governed by the USA. Greenland will not be a part of the USA. We choose the Greenland we know today, which is a part of the Kingdom of Denmark.
Tomorrow, Greenland and Denmark will meet with the USA. We come together, we stay together, and we move forward together. We want dialogue and we want cooperation. We are not seeking any conflict, but our message is clear. Greenland is not for sale. We have made that clear from the start, just as we have told the Americans from the very beginning of all this, that if it is about security, there is much more we can and must do together. And we will also repeat that at the meeting tomorrow. It has not been easy to stand up against completely unacceptable pressure from our closest ally for a generation, but at the same time, much suggests that the hardest part still lies ahead of us.